John Sushil Pakiraj sir, fondly called as JSP, hails from Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India, with a bachelor's degree in civil engineering and a master's degree in structural engineering. He has a wide range of experience in the civil and structural industry involving design of industrial, residential, and institutional buildings. Starting out as a lecturer, experience has been acquired in different facets of his profession. Since entering the EPC industry in 2007, Sri John has a proven understanding of requirements and determining operational goals. JSP constantly endeavors to improve current working methods, quality, and productivity. He constantly focuses efforts to reduce mundane actions by developing spreadsheet tools enhanced with Visual Basic. This is aided by sharp analytical skills, enabling development of information with a ease of using the skills of a seasoned technocrat. Well-honed reasoning skills also allow him to easily pick up and understand industry nuances and jargon that allow him to communicate at all levels with the clients. Key areas of expertise are in engineering services required for successful tendering, quantity estimation, and negotiation in an EPC environment, focused on bulk material handling for power plants, mines, and petrochemical industries. His interests besides developing applications include singing in the choir, traveling and meeting people. He also enjoys spending time with family and inculcating a keen interest in trains, music, and electrical and electronics experiments in his sons. So with this a small introduction, I request Engineer John to take over the session for his valuable lecture today. Thank you, sir. On behalf of Ranipet Local Center of the Institution of Engineers, we invite you for this guest lecture, and we all will be benefited out of it. Thank you, sir. Sir, please unmute yourself, sir. John, sir?
Yes, I hope I'm audible now, sir.
Yes, sir. Now audible.
Sir, thank you so much, sir. And for the kind words, I also must acknowledge Armugam, sir, who first invited me to or introduced me to this session today, the chapter today, who gave me the first invite. And I hope he is there. In any case, we are going to speak on sustainability, and one of the main things is it's like going back to online class. The problem with online classes was that people never spoke back, and it's very difficult to get people to turn their camera on. And although I'm not going to insist that we turn the camera on, I will probably request all of you to feel free to share your thoughts. Because suppose we are going to talk about sustainability, it is not a new thing. In fact, sustainability is something which I think I saw from my grandmother. So in both my grandmothers, in fact, one of my grandmothers will not even throw a single matchstick. Matchsticks will also be kept in in a small tin and reused. And the other grandma used to have it was actually a zero solid waste discharge house. In fact, zero liquid waste also, I must say. And so Indians, we are not very new to the concept of sustainability. And the traditional definition of sustainability is that we don't compromise the future generations. So the future generations also have have whatever resources which we enjoy. And we are talking, especially in the Indian context, I'm talking in the Indian context. When I say I'm talking in the Indian context, I wanted to just probably help us to remember and recollect some of the practices which we probably are familiar with, but maybe we are not trying to do. So if anyone would like to share what they feel of sustainability, or probably it would be a very good thing to have somebody share with us what they feel they've done in their practice. It can be probably for a project, or it can be for any other thing where they had experience hands-on in terms of sustainable construction. Anybody, if you can, please give a 2-minute talk. It will be good, because I hope that we'll keep this session interactive. It is just that when I see a teacher, I think we learn more from others. Even from my students, I tend to learn. So I also hope to learn something from the collective experience of the people here. So probably you can just raise your hands and talk, or just unmute and speak, please. Right.
Actually, sustainable in the simplest form is that it should live for very long period. Our normal intention is, if we build a house, we don't feel like it will be the life of the building will be ended in say 20 years, 30 years. We need, or we intend that it should be up to our granddaughter, grandson, even beyond, like that, hundreds of years that house should be alive. So it should be valid. Like that, our intentions, that is born or imbibed in the human being itself, that it should live forever. That concept is sustainable. This is with a small my understanding. Maybe you can explain in deep.
I fully agree, because today one of the sad parts is, for example, everybody, it's fresh in the memory of everybody, the demolition of twin towers in Noida. I don't know how many of us might have even watched it live, and I don't know how many of us watched to see what could go wrong. And in any case, there's a lesson for all. So many tons of 70,000 tons or something material has been destroyed in a matter of few seconds. And if you look
9
at
seconds.
Yes, in less than 5 seconds or 10 seconds, and the cost of demolition is put at 20 crores. Forget the cost of construction, legal costs, everything put together, the cost has come up to a great level. And probably the main thing what we are trying to look at here is, when we try to make a development of any resource which is made available to us, it is going to have to be available for the future generation. That is the main thing. And maybe I was trying to get a video which I watched long ago, and the sad part is that today when you look at YouTube and you are looking for that particular video, it doesn't come out. So this is how it goes. It's a nice thing. So parents are all called to the school, and they are given white paper, and they are asked to draw. So all the parents draw beautifully, and they use the color pencils liberally, and then they are asked to go to another room. After some time, their children are brought to the same room. They are given what was remaining of the crayons. So what was remaining was black, gray, and maybe some other colors. All the other colors, green, blue, and all the nice colors have already been used up. So the pictures which the parents drew and the ones which the children drew was a stark contrast. The contrast is that the children don't have the color pencils to make a colorful drawing. So the parents are looking at it, and then they realize, oh, it was because I used the crayons, the children didn't get a chance to use the colors. So we will think it was a very powerful video. Maybe the 3 minutes which I saw, which we would have seen in that video, it would have spoken volumes. And in case we are going a little fast, or suppose you'd like us to make a little pause or something, please let me know. And today we are going to try to see a little bit of what is sustainability. Why of sustainability? Probably we already have seen, and we are going to see very few aspects of how for sustainability, because the subject is absolutely very vast. and I was looking at some of the research papers, trying to bring in graphs and other things, and then I was not very confident whether it would be a very interesting way to move about. In any case, one of the main things what we see is the what of sustainability is going to be seen. So if you look at what of sustainability, there are 17 goals which have been given by the UN. These 17 goals are called the goals for sustainable development or and growth, SDGs as they call it. And these goals are to make what is called as equitable development. In other words, today, if suppose we look at the water is a resource which is not something which I don't think any of us thought would become a commodity which can be capitalized upon. I still remember when I was small, maybe 1986. Many of you are older than me, sirs. So I'm sure you will be able to remember more distinctly. My father used to carry a steel can when we used to travel from Chennai to when I think at that time when I remember it was Coimbatore to Chennai. When I was very small, my father was in Meerut. I don't know whether I traveled much from Meerut, but in any case, every time the train stops, he will run to the tap in the station, fill the water, and every station has its own taste. So sometimes we didn't like the water taste, but in any case, that was how we had water. And today, for example, we have
Sir,
that,
your voice is not audible.
Voice is not audible.
சார் எங்களுக்கெல்லாம் கேக்குது. நீங்க இன்னொரு தடவை வெளியே போயிட்டு உள்ள வந்துருங்க.
ஓகே. ஆனா ஆர்முகம் சார், தேங்க்ஸ் ஃபார் டெல்லிங். ஏன்னா இது என்னுடைய சைடுல எதுவும் ப்ராப்ளம் இருந்துச்சுன்னா கூட எனக்கு தெரியாம போயிடும். அதான் பிரச்சனை.
இல்ல சார், ஏதாவது கட் ஆச்சுன்னா டெஃபினட்டா we will come to you.
ஆமா சார். இல்லன்னா போன்ல கூட சொல்லிடுங்க. ஏன்னா இது பாக்குறதுல தெரிய மாட்டேங்குது. ஏன்னா இது வெறும் பிரசன்டேஷன் ஸ்கிரீன் மட்டும் தான் எனக்கு தெரியுது. அதனால உள்ளுக்கு என்ன நடக்குதுன்னு தெரிய மாட்டேங்குது.
ஓகே.
Anyway, coming back here. So இது this is how water was at one point. எங்க போனாலும் நம்ம தண்ணி குடிக்கிறதுக்கு we had the freedom. அதே மாதிரி ஆனா இன்னைக்கு டேட்ல பார்த்தோம்னா it is very sad that water is not actually freely available. முந்திலாம் இந்த Mark II பம்ப் எல்லா ரோட்லயும் இருக்கும். ஒரு போர்வெல் நீங்க டைரக்டாவே தண்ணி பம்ப் பண்ணி குடிக்கலாம். எனக்கு ஞாபகம் இருக்கு. போய் விளையாண்டுட்டு கிரிக்கெட் விளையாண்டுட்டு இது பண்ணி பம்ப் இதுல பண்ணிட்டு உடனே போய் அங்க கை கால் கழுவிட்டு இது பண்றது, தண்ணி குடிக்கிறது, எதுவுமே we never thought that water can get into a commodity which you buy. இப்போ நம்ம ஹோட்டல் போறோம்னா, even though the hotel owners or the server says it's bottled water, I mean it's only bottled water, we don't trust it. What does it mean? The availability of a natural resource which we never thought would not be available has become rare. As engineers, many of, I don't know, civil engineers, I am a civil engineer, so maybe many of my examples could be from civil engineering. River sand is something which we never thought was going to get over. Example, when we were young, காவேரியில போய் குளிப்போம். காலையில எங்க மாமா கூட்டிட்டு போவாங்க. And river had so much of sand. இன்னைக்கு அதே ரிவர்ல கல்லணை was I think Mukumbu Dam got washed away last flood. And why was it? It was again something where the natural resource was lost. Today the situation is we don't have river sand. We are using M sand. We don't know how long the M sand will also be available. So we are, or because our parents used up all the sand, we can say today river sand is not available as a construction material. So this is where we are looking at equitable development. Means everybody should have all access to all resources. And one more very important thing at this point, what I personally feel is, it is not only for humans, it is also for the animals, the plants and the birds. So all of these put together is what we are looking at today. This is what we are looking at today. So these are the sustainable development goals: no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality. These 5 things are highly what we call as social science based. But let us look at point number 6 and point number 7. If you look at 8 and 9, they also come under what we call as the engineering requirement. We will be looking at it a little more in the forthcoming slides. The clean water and sanitation is something which probably Swachh Bharat idellame நம்ம பேசிட்டு இருக்கோம். But we are looking at how to get this energy available to, water available to everybody. The other thing is affordable and clean energy. So, of course, this is something I just wanted to have these slides, these 2 slides to tell it. We were wanting to tell. So, when we are looking at sustainable development, we are looking at a responsible approach to nature. And as engineers, we are now having the tools at hand to make sure that our designs, whatever be it, it may be a structural design, it can be an architectural design, it can be a design of a system, and so and it's a very wide area. I remember 3 years ago or so, before the pandemic, we used to visit BHL Ranipet. So one of the biggest things which the people work on is the water resources. In fact, if suppose with reference to what we just spoke, that a water system is being made more economical, or it's reducing wastage. If suppose any case study or any experience can be shared, it will be a really good thing. If any of the engineers who are here can share their experience, I'll really love to hear it. I'll just probably take a half-a-minute break. If anything comes to any of your minds, please share. I think I got a chat message. Oh, screen is not. Sir, is screen visible?
இல்ல sir, we are able to see you. Screen தெரியல, உங்களோட PPT தெரியல.
மேடம், எங்களுக்கு தெரியுது மேடம்.
அப்படிங்களா? சரிங்க சார், ஓகே, நான் செக் பண்றேன்.
நீங்க கொஞ்சம் வெளியே வந்துட்டு போங்களேன். பேண்ட்விட்த்ல இஷ்யூ இருந்தா கூட அந்த மாதிரி உங்களுக்கு வராது.
செக் பண்றேன் சார், மொபைல்ல தான் பார்க்கறேன், செக் பண்றேன் சார். ஓகே, थैंक यू
சார். ஏஜிஎம் ஜான் சார், உங்களுக்கு தெரியுதா?
சார் மியூட்டடா இருக்கீங்க சார், ப்ளீஸ்.
சுந்தரவேலு,
ஹலோ, எனக்கு கிளியரா ரெஸ்பான்சிபிள் அப்ரோச் டு நேச்சர் அது தெரியுதுங்க சார்.
ஓகே, தட்ஸ் ஆல்.
ஓகே சார். ஓகே, ஃபார் மீ both video and audio is very clear.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you sir.
He is my retired boss, John Tirthodas. So
sir, இப்போ visible இருக்கு சார்.
Okay, thank you. Actually, sir was asking about the water conservation and the waste reduction, is it not? Actually, yes, the desalination industry itself is towards conservation only, sir. Converting drinking water when it is not available elsewhere from sea itself is a conservation. Correct. And when we want to even reuse the backwash waste like that and all is thought of to make the water reusable. So such systems we are giving in industries, sir.
Actually, the 3 R's: reduce, recycle, reuse. This is the key to sustainable engineering. Yeah. So, sir, for example, suppose you are going to reduce the wastage of any system. One of the things which I like a lot is, like a lot of case studies we can take from VAT itself. So, water responsible usage na, we are a zero liquid discharge. I'm sure BHL is also zero liquid discharge, and it's a mandate by the government that whatever is your industry, irrespective of the place, except for probably இன்னைக்கு டேட்ல private homes தவிர எல்லாமே zero liquid discharge இருக்கணும். So somehow you should use all the liquid waste, or you should treat it and then try to reuse it, recycle it, or reduce the wastage at any rate. So this is what we are talking as a responsible approach to nature. And if suppose we are able to use less energy for getting the same work done. So for example, one of the biggest push we have is changing all the tube lights or CFLs to LED lamps. So LED lamps, we are getting a lot of energy saving, and we are also looking at a lot of other technologies. For example, BLDC technology in fans, brushless DC motors. So in the mari number use பண்றதுல we are actually reducing the use. We are not compromising on the comfort. Fan is there. Light is required, light is there. Or what we are doing is we are not taking as much as what we would have done. See, for example, this is a short article as example of the water systems, and I'm sure all of you are very familiar with this. In the cooling towers, in the lot of water is probably getting wasted. So if suppose we are reducing the amount of energy which we use, at the same, we can cut down on the probably the carbon emission, and also we can also look at the greener solution. For example, windmill, solar energy, and this is all something which is very commonly known. Anna, what is the challenge here? The amount of in the renewable energy sources which are used in office environment, and I don't know how many engineers are here who are having their own office setup. So if you look at the typical work style, we usually work from morning 9 or 10 o'clock till around 6 o'clock. So if suppose you look at the solar panels which are available today, rendu panel vaangina, or high power PC can be very easily used. So we can keep thinking on ways by which our own office setup can first be made sustainable. Once you learn how to make your own place sustainable, you will find that you'll be extending it to others. One of the things which we found out was instead of having multiple air conditioner units in VIT, we found that keeping a centralized chiller plant and then circulating the chilled water to the places where the chilled water is required, like hostels or academic blocks, it was having its benefits. It was having a lot of benefit. In fact, so now more number of chiller plants have come up, and also we are looking at increasing the, wherever we need air conditioning, whether we are able to get a chiller plant in place. So this is an experience which we have on our own. So in the mari idula, especially those engineers who are in private practice, if suppose we are able to look at ways by which we can make our own office profitable. Simple things. It can be just switching over from LED or to LED, or having another method. You will find that you will be advocating that system more confidently. And also, maybe, with the forthcoming the energy bill increase, electric bill jasti aporochla, this is something I think all of us are going to feel directly benefiting out of. And one of the biggest things which we look at is how we can get water which can be available without compromising the quality and also the availability to our future generations. One of the things which we are also looking at is what we have not explicitly talked about is air. So we never thought water is going to be required to be bottled. What if suppose next our children are going to wear, oxygen diving, if they are having a oxygen mask and other things and going out, my grandchild is going to go to school with a oxygen mask. And a situation is definitely something which we don't want it to happen. And this is one of the reasons why we are talking specifically about energy and water. Energy is something which is entirely in our control. How much energy we use, how we use, what is really required to be used is something which is in our control. In all these things, we are not telling don't get benefit of the utility. What we are looking at is how can we make it more sustainable. That is, in the carbon use பண்ற fossil fuels or something of that nature, how is it going to be eliminated? So, for example, today the government is pushing a lot for electric mobility. Maybe it is because of the Paris Accord. We signed a document where we told we are going to reduce the amount of carbon which we are going to use as a country at large. So, but if suppose we are looking at it, one of the things we saw is one of the former Prime Minister, President of US was very much against such a treaty because it was felt that US was paying for the other countries' inefficiencies. But I personally feel that it is everybody's requirement that we look at the savings in terms of how we use our resources. So maybe one of the things which we used to do as a civil engineer is, if suppose a building required one-time strength, a certain amount of material to be used to reach a particular strength, always we increase the strength excessively. Maybe adanalda ipo nariya bridges are still standing because lorry load has increased a lot, but bridges are still able to take it. One side it may seem nice, however, we can reduce or we can optimize to a very large extent the way we do our construction. And another thing is, India, as we told, has lot of things which we have already done. Now, in terms of the awareness which I feel all the engineers should have, and maybe many of us are having, it is in the terms of GRIHA. Now, GRIHA is the standard, is the body which is looking at the green building certification in the Indian context. Now, one of the things which we have is the site planning. The other thing is the leads. Leads has about 6 points, and GRIHA has about 12 points where we are where a building is going to be assessed. So when we look at the way the site is planned, site orientation, what is the way we are looking at maintaining the local plants, அங்க இருக்கிற பிளான்ட்டை நம்ம வந்து எவ்வளவு டிஸ்டர்ப் பண்ணாம வச்சிருக்கோம், all of those things contribute a lot to the it contributes to the green rating. In fact, 12% of the points are reserved for site planning. The second one is for construction management, like for example how we can reduce the waste. இப்போ எங்களுக்கு வந்து ஒரு எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் இருந்துச்சு. VIT, as you all know, we have a platinum rated building. So very simple thing, ஒரு சைட்ல இருந்து வெளியில போறச்சுல the trucks carry lot of mud. So அது வந்து அவாய்ட் பண்றதுக்கு there was a wheel wash. So this was one of the practices in construction management, waste handling in the site. So these kind of things carried 4 marks. Now, energy efficiency of the entire project carries 18%. So you can think of how all you can reduce the use of energy. And the problem is with each year passing, the standard becomes more and more stringent. So energy efficiency it could mean that when you're the power factor increase பண்றதுக்கு capacitor bank போடலாம், and this depends on the size of the project you are working with. Or you can simply be trying to use LED lighting or intelligent lighting. இந்த மாதிரி இப்போ வந்து the number of things which are available is just too many, which we cannot actually talk about in a single lecture. And again, I know this is a very mixed audience, so I am not sure which aspect to specifically tackle. However, நீங்க எந்த field எடுத்தீங்கனாலும் you are going to find that there is a way by which you can make your system energy efficient, and this is given 18% weightage. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, this is the highest weightage which it's having. If you are able to have a system where you design so that the occupants or the end user of the building is comfortable. It can be an industrial structure, or it can be a commercial structure, a residential structure, or institutional building. எந்த மாதிரி இருந்துச்சுனாலும் சரி, உள்ளுக்கு இருக்கிற ஆக்குபென்ட்ஸ்க்கு நீங்க without having to give any HVAC systems, without giving any other special needs, if you're able to get the occupants to feel comfortable, that itself is a very big thing. And one of the amazing things in green building la enna, classes நடந்துட்டு இருக்கும், corridor நடுப்புற இருக்கு. However, the entire area between the two classes is open. When I'm handling a class in that particular building, I handled classes there, I won't feel that I need to shout out. அங்க இருக்கிற echo and also the way the sound is absorbed is very beautifully designed. So this is one of the things which I wish all the people, irrespective of the stream, electrical or electronics or in whichever stream you are, or civil mechanical, if you are able to provide the end users, whoever is going to operate the building, and the stage people, if suppose they are able to be comfortable, it is going to be great. And it's having 12% weightage, and water management has 16%. Why we are specifically wanting to talk about water and energy, it is because we see in the long run, these are two things which will be continuously used in any building. You may use water for cleaning a facility, or you may be using water for drinking purpose, or any other things which sanitation and other needs of the human beings. Water is very important. Energy is very important. Suppose we are able to handle the water carefully, many of our problems are solved. So again, this is having a lot of marks. Then there is solid waste management. Of course, that is having 6% of weightage. The other important thing is sustainable building materials. So if you look at point number 2, construction management, sustainable building, the civil engineers have the control. Suppose you are very good at these two, 16% of the marks are got. Energy efficiency is something, again, like the problem in India is, when you are looking at a LED tube light, it is much costlier than the ordinary mercury tube. So we always go for the cheaper one initially. அதோட பாத்தீங்கன்னா the குண்டு bulb சொல்லல, the Edison bulb or the incandescent lamp, it is hardly 10 rupees. It is much cheaper than any of the other systems. However, the what you call as the energy efficiency is that much lower, but still people tend to move for the cheaper option because they see the initial cost. However, the true cost of the building is not at the initial stage, it is in the operation stage. Construction stage is 2 years, 3 years maybe. After that, the building is going to live for 50 years or 60 years. So 60 years, how we are going to get suppose we are going to avoid air conditioner just because the building is so comfortable, 3 or 4 degrees Celsius cooler we can find. I am sure many of you have come to VIT. Technology Tower is one of the buildings. You enter into Technology Tower, you immediately feel comfortable. You're cool, feeling cool. So in the Gandhi block, what I'm talking about, the one which has got the platinum rating, is also a building of that nature. Of course, there are some other systems also built into that. But in any case, sustainable building material is having a very high priority. So on the building, what all did we use? We used Porotham blocks. We used a lot of the AAC blocks. Orientation of the building, and the things are also there, but most of the materials are thermal, have very good thermal properties. Not only are they thermal efficient, sustainable materials, the material which has been chosen is such that it will not cause any harm to the people who are using the building. We all know asbestos was banned. In date, volatile chemicals are there, organic chemicals are there in paints and other things, which can cause harm to the people using the building. So maybe we can avoid that. People with asthma and others may be very happy with you. The wooden frames, if you are going for frames which are long lasting, aluminum frames or frames which need very less maintenance, we can probably prove that our construction is more sustainable than the other traditional sources. So there's a cost involved in the life cycle of the building. Of course, they are giving only 5% weightage. And one more thing is the social economic strategy which is being followed in the building. So for example, labor force facilities, how are we making them feel good? What is the thing that makes them work safely? What is the thing that makes them work in comfort? For example, providing toilets, providing water, providing all of these are there in DOCW also. So when we are looking at if you're planning to get green building, certification. In the 8 marks, construction management or 4 marks, 12 marks you get, plus sustainable building materials is another 12 marks. 24% of your grade for making your building sustainable is already got. I'm sorry if suppose like I'm boring you with the stuff which you may probably know. This is all in the Griha standard, so I just taken from that. So idu vandu is one of the ways by which usually exam pass பண்றது எப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு we always tell our students, if you do this you'll at least pass the exam. So if you want to get good grades, you study this extra. And mari irukadala we are trying to put. I will wish to just highlight that we are I mean, like, as civil engineers, we have a very large role. About 25% of the aspects of sustainability are directly in the hands of civil engineers. Of course, I can go on for other things also, and 16 plus 6, this other 22% what we talk about, water management and solid waste management, is also a lot under the hands of the civil engineers. So we need to look at this a little in depth. So energy and water. Moving on. So in the HVAC, the heating, ventilation and air conditioning principles is another very important thing which you can see. Whether HVAC is really required, that is a question itself which we can ask ourselves and see, suppose we can eliminate it. Adhe mari ventilation in solli varachla, it is involving fans. Ipo number veetla, for example, in my house, it's a rented house, and I don't believe in investing too much in any house we go. However, in the rooms we have more number of appliances running, motors running na bedrooms, because night full of oda 8 hours, rest of the day, most of the time we are not in the house. So I put BLDC in the bedrooms alone. So idhe mari da, like, you only suppose we are having a little bit of selfish interest, bill cut pandrakku seynunalo, I want all of us to think on these lines. When we are confident and when we tell that in our house or in our office we are doing this, we are sure to attract the interest of the people who are buying the product from us. So probably we can say that in the green principles vachite, although the initial cost might seem a little high, it is going to be very beneficial for all. And this is one of the things which all of us are very I'm sorry, madam. Is there a question? Okay, so coming back here, we are having a graph here which all of us are very familiar with. In the initial stages, if you want to make a change, it is very easy to make the change. It is not going to cost much. It will cost, maybe it will cost a lot also, but to make the change, it is possible. When the architectural, see, for example, the policy decision on how you are going to source your electric power for the lifetime of the building, solar power, wind energy, because today windmills are not the traditional windmills alone. People now the different flower shaped vertical, they are having windmills which require very little space. In some of the countries, they use the the electric poles to generate wind power. So this is the way by which the technologies are keeping on evolving. So it's it's a very dynamic and very fast moving world. Adhe mari, we can make any of the engineering design and other things. We can make, a lot of changes. And again, it's an exponential curve. It is the change what we see in the beginning of the project is very small. The curve flattens out. And the rest of the time, it is only in the maintenance mode. So we want to reduce the maintenance. We want to ensure that maintenance can be done properly and comfortably. So in the aspect is what should be impressed upon the end user, the owners and the operators of a facility or a building. So we are using a lot of alternate materials. All of us would have used it in some project or the other. AC block, shale, the clay, hollow clay blocks, so on and so forth. Lot of materials have come. We are trying to reduce the use of carbon. For example, bricks need to be fired. So we are trying to avoid, because that automatically gives us carbon credits. But more importantly, these are inherent thermal properties. So what we're trying to put across here is, let us engineer our solution in such a manner that we can use a combination of materials as well as the systems when we talk of energy. So moving on, if, some of the what you call as the general principles. It's just a reminder again of what we can do. So suppose we are going to have, let us say, a room where there's going to be a lot of heat generated, a switchgear room. So what kind of ventilation could be done, and what are the advancement which we have in today's date, which we can probably use, something which we can look at. Providing thermal resistance to walls. Many of us use coatings on the ceiling or some kind of tiles on the ceiling to reduce the incidence of thermal radiation. So it's all engineering decisions which we can take. Adhe mari, buildings have certain reflectivity. So when we look at green buildings, they call it urban heat islands, and so many other names are there. But what can be done to make it to our advantage? And also, like, it is not only my advantage, how it could affect another person is something which we can look at. And this is something probably a little personal. Many times moisture buildup causes more damage. So sir was saying in the beginning, we want to see our buildings go on for till our grandchild or any other person, and half of the problem is because of moisture movement. And I'm not going to dwell too much on this. Let us try to see, suppose we can weather seal operable windows, that is open panni close pandra windows. If suppose we are able to make it weather tight, especially from my experience in material handling systems, most of these areas are in very dusty areas. So if suppose we look at it, some of the windows are like we'll not bother to close it again in the life of the building itself. So if suppose we are looking at ways by which we can reduce the damage caused due to the building not being properly able to protect itself due to non-operational doors or windows or any of that sort, let us see how we can do it. We can always choose construction materials that reduce the heat transfer. So these are again very known principles. We're just trying to recollect it. And when we talk of sustainability, we see that the Kilo building systems, it is the foundation. It is the main place where we can gain real sustainable system. So maybe it may be making a structure slightly costlier by going for a different product, because one of the things which you see is that the inertia which people have is very large. And I'm sorry to put it like, I've seen many of the government contracts, it is very rigid because nobody wants to make a mistake. But it's high time that we try to change our mindset so that we are more open to adopt established materials. The AAC blocks is quite freely used, but there are still so many other materials which are more or less they are locally available material, which we find it very difficult to push across. So for example, if we use 5% recent thing which we are doing, 5% replacement of cement with bagasse ash. This is the sugar mill which is near Ranipet. We took the bagasse ash and we tried to conduct some experiments to see what would be the effect. Cement of 5% is a very small replacement. It's a very small replacement. But what we have done is we found that there has been a good increase in the strength. Just like this, maybe rice husk cast, metacolonite, and all these things. 2008 it was put in the IS 456 code. But we are I don't know how much we are still open to go for cement replacement in many of the places. Of course, blended cement, whatever is coming in back, we are using it. But are we trying to use some of the materials which are waste material which is available from the nearby industries. This is something which we can see. And building systems, Angada, we are having the most potential. And probably I'm a little selfish as a civil engineer, I'm talking. This is what you call, building systems is giving me 50% of marks in established this one, what you call the Griha rating. So why am I why do I have to lose it? And more than that, 100 marks per 5 marks is given as a bonus mark for showing innovations. And innovation, as of now, even if you do what you call as building automation and other things, although it is suggested, special marks have not been given for any of this. It is not given in today's date. So let us see how we can bring more innovation into the building system, how we place windows, how we place doors. All of this itself brings a big change. And right on top is mechanical system. When nothing works, let us go for mechanical system. See, this is what we mean by the passive cooling strategy. This is again something which we are very familiar with, how we place windows, how we are going to keep trees, how we reduce solar incidence. Light every building உள்ளுக்கு வருது, இல்லனா building உள்ளுக்கு வரது சில இடத்துல நல்லா இருக்கும். Some places you don't want light to come in because along with it heat also comes in. And how we plan open spaces. This is very important. Again, you can actually experience this when you come to Technology Tower or Mahatma Gandhi Block, which are really lovely buildings inside VAT. And I mean, I was not sure whether, what permission I should get to take drawings of those buildings. But I used something from one of the research papers which we saw. So, the amount of light which enters into this road has been reduced during the day, along with the heat which is going to be brought in. The light solar radiation is going to be very, very high. And I cannot say that solar radiation is very bad. And I have a short video to show this.
It's not a lamp and it's not a window. It's a completely new sort of product. This is essentially a sunshine distribution system where you put a mirror dish on the roof and use fiber optic cables to lead in sunshine into any dark rooms of your building. If you're on the ground, for instance, or if you're deep within buildings, you can install a solar system and you can get the sunlight without the heat. Most people prefer sunlight to artificial light. Sunlight prevents depression. Sunlight makes us feel better, makes us more productive. And yet, 90% of our day is spent indoors in electric light. This electric light, or as we like to call it, fake light, makes up 20% of the global electricity consumption. Using real light instead, you save money and lead a healthier, more sustainable lifestyle.
Soros means sunflower in Swedish, and like our system, it follows the sun. I am Er.John.S.Packiaraj, founder and engineer at Soros. I work with sunlight since 2011, and we wanted to make a system that was affordable, easy to use, and robust. We wanted to make the sunshine available to everyone.
The sunshine is very natural product, so the experience should be physical without taking too much space. I'm working on designing the Soros system dish and the Soros box. I'm doing it in very traditional Scandinavian way in order to fit most environments. We are aiming to sell internationally, so we have to think of many different home interiors. We also want to design a product which is affordable but has great quality and all details and finishes.
The solar system is really easy to install. All you have to do is mount the system where you have sun, put the cables inside the room where you have the light, and turn it on. And then it will automatically find the sun and you will get sunlight in your room.
Every day, the world is becoming more crowded. Look at the streets of dense cities where the sun is being blocked out by all the surrounding tall buildings. This is where solos could make a real difference. By bringing real light to where the sun doesn't reach, solos will make a lot of rooms better suited for both life and work. With Kickstarter, we can go global straight away. We want to be able to try it out everywhere around the world at the same time in order to make it even better experience. We have this fantastic source of lights already, which is the sun. We just need to harvest it.
I'm just forwarding a little.
Kaya first premiered on Indiegogo this past September. Using Kaya couldn't turn her on. She'll find the sun all on her own and redirect its light into your home or office. Kaya is solar powered, so you never have to worry if she's charged. And she continuously monitors the movement of the sun throughout the day and remembers where you want to send the sunlight, so you have natural light indoors all day long. If you have a dark or gloomy room in your home or office, then Kaya is for you. With more than $500,000 raised to date on Indiegogo, it's been a truly life-changing experience to see the amount of support for Kaya around the world.
Anyway, so I have a few more thoughts which I'd like to share with you before I leave. Actually, it might look like how is that 24/7 with the sunlight is there, it will not look nice. But actually, there are other systems also which have been developed where they use liquid crystals to turn on and turn off the light in each room. So you can actually turn on and turn off sunlight in your room. So how amazing can it get? I don't know, because this is the imagination of people. And is this sustainable? That question I leave it to you to answer. And the other thing is that many times we think of sustainability in terms of energy and this one water. But I'm also thinking about the operations of like many of the operations which we do on a day-to-day basis. So what are the true cost of sending an email? It's actually quite huge, because when I send an email across, it is stored in so many servers, and all these servers are kept in rooms which require cooling. They require rooms for running the hard drives. The energy required for like backing up between different servers, because our email is not stored on one server. It is the same thing with all these cloud solutions which we are talking about. Although it may seem very easy, because the email providers, when they give you a example, they say you are going to pay 15 rupees per letter which you post. However, if you send it by email, it is so much cheaper. Suppose you're sending a lot of documents, you're paying so much for courier. But what is the true cost? It is something which we are not able to see, because all of these things contribute to the carbon footprint. Again, when I talk about solar power, I should not blindly say that the video I showed is great. If I'm going to use solar panel and I'm going to use lead acid batteries, again, it's not going to be effective. And today, if you see, there are so many inferior panels. So when you are going to buy an inferior panel, you're encouraging industries which are going to give you low quality product. And again, everything has a cost in manufacturing, transporting, storing, and also when you use it, you're getting a fraction of what you are expected to get. So again, this is another thing where I'd like all of us to think on when we are talking about electric mobility. What is the true cost in terms of sustainability? So whenever we talk of sustainability, we have to remember the story with which we started. Our children are going to have the same paper and crayons which we leave behind. So if you are going to use all the crayons and give them only the paper, they are not going to get the beautiful world which you can get out with in a drawing. So thank you so much for your time and patience. And if suppose any of you have any questions, I'll be very happy to take. And I still love to hear, if suppose you have some experiences which you can share and enrich the session. Thank you so much, Untitled Chapter, for giving me this opportunity and your patient listening.
Thank you very much, sir. 1 hour has gone without our notice.
Thank you, sir. Any questions or any other interaction I'd love to have, please?
Actually, that video what you have shown was very much interesting, sir.
I will probably share the link across to you, sir. And because I was more looking at the time, it's 8 o'clock, so I didn't want to. I was a little worried about that.
Yeah, that is true. But still, the concepts what they have shown, that giving light from external source through mirrors and reflecting it inside the room, and in the where she was reading, in that area the light was focused. So I thought these ideas should be taken in a positive way and to be used in our construction industry as well.
Yes, sir.
That green one such a green building is there in BHL campus also, sir, where the natural lighting, heating ventilation requirement, reduced heating ventilation requirements, sustainable with solar power, all these things they also put into the practice for building that, especially one building where we are doing this embedded system workshop.
Okay, nice, sir.
Yeah, it is there in BHL campus also. Ravi Shankar sir. Ramananachi sir face path. Just actually AGM quality and the retire ஆனாரு சார் எல்லாம் இன்னைக்கு ஜாயின் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. I am very happy to see them.
Salai.
Yes sir, 8 o'clock unga area la vandu thank you sir, thank you.
Thank you, very nice. I could hear the voice of VIT professor as well as our friends. Very nice. Nalla irundhathu. Sustainable energy, all this information for the people who are going to build a new house and all, they have to take care.
Yes, that ஒரு ஸ்டாண்டர்டே இருக்குன்றதே இப்பதான் சார் தெரியுது. ஆக்சுவலா கிரிஹா அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு ஒரு ஸ்டாண்டர்டே இருக்கு. இந்த பார்ட்டுக்கு இவ்வளவு percentage of contribution for the building to be taken care அப்படின்ற விஷயம்லாம் வந்து it has been put in black and white அப்படிங்கிற விஷயம்லாம் இப்பதான் தெரியுது. நம்ம ஏதோ ஒரு மேஸ்திரி கூப்பிடுவோம் பில்டிங் கட்டுவோம் அந்த மாதிரி தான் இருந்தது. அது மாதிரிலாம் இல்லை. இப்போ now the time has changed. We have to scientifically approach everything, and we should minimize use of things which should be sustainable for our in decades of our we should leave.
Very nice.
எல்லாத்துக்கும் தண்ணி கிடைக்கணும், காத்து கிடைக்கணும்னா நம்ம வந்து ஒரு முறையான வாழ்வு வாழணும் அப்படின்றத வந்து சார் வந்து லைட் அப்படி டச் பண்ணி கொண்டு போயிட்டாரு.
Yeah, in WhatsApp also we used to see that tubes, light tubes from the roof, light is coming and that is getting distributed into the room and all. So adhe merilam kuda some messages I could see. That is interesting. Really good things. Okay, very nice. Thank you sir, thank you Salai.
Thank you sir, thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Some time back we laid this what do you call this cement paving block in a school campus. That contractor told me they are testing the material in VIT. Is it so? Some testing facility is also to have for the civil people.
Yes sir, testing facility we do have, sir, under the care.
What he was telling, compared to the test outside the campus, it is better to test it in VIT so that 100% quality can be ensured. That's what he told me.
Yes, that yeah, I agree with him on that count, of course, but I cannot tell too highly because I am part of that organization. But yes, we do have NABL accredited lab also for quality assurance, sir. So another under yes, we can. And when you know, like on the tested material use pandras, like the longevity of the structure is better. You know, the material which goes into it is of good quality, sir. That's correct. We do have the infrastructure for that.
அந்த ஏஏசி பிளாக்னு சொன்னீங்கல்ல சார், அது அத பத்தி ஏதாவது கொஞ்சம் லைட் த்ரோ பண்ணுங்களேன். வாட் இஸ் தட்?
That is only that Er.Con block, sir.
It's basically composed of.
Actually வந்து நம்ம என்ன பண்றோம்னா, we are adding some air entraining material in that. அதனால என்ன ஆயிடுதுன்னா வந்து இது entrained air, it's not entrapped air. So uniform bubbles are formed.
Okay.
And here it's done in a factory setting. It is usually not done in the site or anything. Usually hollow block na ekanalu pannittu chuma or press pannittu they cure it and bring it. Correct. So idu vandu autoclaved na within 24 hours it will get the required strength. Pressure cooker la pottu cook pandra mari adu sir equivalent. So the industry has to be having all that infrastructure. And Aditya Birla in the mari well established place. When we usually, I mean, I'm not recommending a particular brand, but yes, it's usually the big players who have very good quality control inbuilt into the system, unlike what we have in many of the other things like hollow blocks, layers blocks.
So these AAC blocks will be used as a wall, which will be used for constructing walls. So that the thermal properties on the desired properties we can get.
Sir, this is having a twofold advantage. One side we are talking of thermal systems, but the block is itself very light. So because the block beam design பண்றதுல dead load of the beam ஒரு பெரிய load.
Okay.
So now that is reduced. When that gets reduced, your beam dimension gets reduced. So self weight reduce adu. Self weight reduce adasla seismic forces reduce.
Okay.
So anala it has a cumulative effect right up to the foundation. So when we talk of design being sustainable, and I was talking about sizing being oversized, this is another way by which just by changing material we have reduced the entire structural system to more we saved a lot on the material. Although the cost of the block is high, the overall saving is very high because of the other factors. Usually நம்ம என்ன பார்ப்போம்னா ஒரே இது block cost இதோட cost வந்து 20 rupees, அதோட cost 80 rupees அப்படிதான் அவங்க வந்து கம்பேர் பண்ணுவாங்களே ஒழிய. And again the AAC block is much bigger, so the number of blocks which you use also is that many more. So these are all ways by which we have. இப்போ நீங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா VET உள்ளுக்கு எல்லா construction is only with AAC blocks. Initially there was a lot of resistance, but once we see the benefit, it's it pays for itself, sir.
Very good, very good. So it's a thought-provoking information wherein we also should make use of that AAC blocks.
Yes, sir.
Definitely, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Vivek line la irkingla? Vivek?
Manalan.
Sir. Sir, நீங்களே vote of thanks சொல்லுங்க சார்.
இல்ல ஒரு நிமிஷம் சார்ட்ட கொஞ்சம் பேசணும்.
பேசுங்க. ஆக்சுவலி ஆர்மோ சார் வந்து எங்களுக்கு ஹானரரி, ஐ மீன் எங்களோட கமிட்டியில அவர் மெம்பர் சார். அவரு தான் உங்களை வந்து சூஸ் பண்ணி எங்களுக்கு இன்னைக்கு டேவை வந்து ஹெல்ப் பண்ணியிருக்காரு. அவரு சொல்லணும் இல்லன்றாரு பாருங்க.
ஒரு நிமிஷம் இருங்க, நான் கேட்க அப்புறம் மறந்து போயிருக்கேன். பிளாக் எல்லாம் வந்து இண்டிவிஜுவல் ரெசிடென்ட்ஸுக்கு யூஸ் பண்ணி நான் எதுவுமே பார்க்கலையா சார்? யாருமே யூஸ் பண்றது
யூசுவலா வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா அதுல வந்து ஏசி பிளாக்ல வந்து நீங்க ஆர்டினரிலி ட்ரில் பண்ற மாதிரி நீங்க கேர்லெஸ்ஸா ட்ரில் பண்ண முடியாது. யூ ஹேவ் டு பி வெரி கேர்ஃபுல் இன் ட்ரில்லிங். செகண்ட் திங் இஸ் சேசிங் பண்றது. இப்போ நீங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா யூசுவலா மேசன் வந்து சும்மா கொத்திட்டு போயிடுவாங்க. ஆனா நீங்க ஏசி பிளாக் சேசிங் பண்றதுல எலக்ட்ரிக் கேபிள் போடுறதுக்கு யூ ஹேவ் டு கட் இட் வித் கட்டர். இது சர்க்குலர் சா வச்சு தான் கட் பண்ணணும். அண்ட் அகெயின் there is a one of the things is that people feel that it is prone to cracks. It is prone to cracks if you are not doing the work properly. ஏன்னா இப்போ நீங்க ஏசி பிளாக்ல பாத்தீங்கன்னா 1 millimeter தான் வந்து ஜாயிண்ட் சைஸ் if you are using the jointing compound which they provide. ஆனா வந்து till about 1.5 years நான் கடைசி ப்ராஜெக்ட் இது பண்றதுல where I was a consultant, அப்போ வந்து I was talking with in particular Birla. அவங்களே சொன்னாங்க அந்த stronger material and AAC block வர junction, like for example the junction at between slab and block, first block, அதே மாதிரி காலமும் beam and the column block join ஆற இடத்துல they don't recommend using their jointing compound. They still want you to use the normal cement mortar. So இந்த மாதிரி complications இருக்கிறது. If you follow these principles there will be no problem. Maybe வந்து நீங்க விண்டோ கிட்டயோ இல்லைன்னா அந்த சுவிட்ச் போர்டு வைக்கிற இடத்துல எட்ஜ்ல சிக்கன் வயர் மெஷ் வைக்கணும். இதெல்லாம் நம்ம வந்து யூஸ்வலா வந்து நம்மளுடைய ஈவன் BHL ஸ்டாண்டர்ட்ஸ் எல்லாத்துலயுமே நம்ம வந்து யூஸ்வலா வச்சிருக்கிற இதுதான் ஃபார் ஈவன் நார்மல் பிளாக் ஒர்க். இதே பிரின்சிபிள்ஸ் குட் இன்ஜினியரிங் பிரின்சிபிள்ஸ் நீங்க யூஸ் பண்ணீங்கன்னா there will be no problem. But typical houses are not done by taking it account the advice of an engineer. Who does it we don't know, and how technically competent they are we don't know. So idhula supervision is also something which is very important. Ana vandu the normal houses varachla and the normal contractors when they do typical brickwork pandra mari pannanga definitely there is going to be trouble. So this is one of the reasons why I feel that people have not picked up with this AAC block, sir. Specifications romba careful ah kodukano. It has to be adhered to carefully.
காஸ்ட் வைஸ் இனிஷியல் காஸ்ட் ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் பிரிக் வச்சும் கட்டுறதுக்கு ஒரு
சார் நீங்க வந்து பிரிக்கோட காஸ்ட மட்டும் பாத்தீங்கன்னா இது சார். ஆனா இப்ப நீங்க வந்து ஒரு கிரவுண்ட் பிளஸ் 1 ஃப்ளோர் கட்டுறீங்கன்னா அந்த இதுல see the main problem is நீங்க என்ஜினியரிங் பண்ணாம நீங்க பண்றதுல பீம் சைஸ்லாம் ரொம்ப சின்னதா பண்ணிட்டு இருப்பாங்க. எங்க ஒரு வீட்டு ரோட் முனையில ஒரு வீடு இருக்கு, பீம் வந்து ஒரு 20x20 போட்டிருக்காங்கன்னா கூட தெரியல சார். ஆர்சி பீம் it is sagging terribly. மேபி அந்த 230 வித் வச்சிருப்பாங்க, டெப்த்தும் 230 தான். அதுல ஒரு 70 mm 75 mm தான் ஸ்லாப் திக்னஸ் மாதிரி போட்டிருக்காங்க. ஸ்பான் இஸ் வெரி லார்ஜ், டிஃப்ளெக்ஷன் அவ்வளவு ஜாஸ்தி இருக்கு. ஜஸ்ட் பை நேக்கட் ஐ we are able to see the deflection. So இந்த மாதிரி இது இருக்கிறதுல ஐ மீன் இந்த அளவு தான் வந்து சூப்பர்விஷன் இருக்கிறதுல அவங்க வந்து அங்க பீம்லயே வந்து கட்ட காஸ்ட். நான் வந்து ஏசி பிளாக் போடுறதுல மேபி அதோட ரெடியூஸ் தி சைஸ் a little. ஆனா வந்து அன்என்ஜினியர்ட் பில்டிங்ஸ்ல இது வந்து this is not going to work sir. அண்ட் அவங்க வந்து காஸ்ட் வந்து ஆல்ரெடி கான்கிரீட்ல குறைச்சிட்டாங்க. என்னுடைய அட்வான்டேஜ் இஸ் கோயிங் டு கம் ஒன்லி when my concrete is going to be reduced, foundation size is going to be reduced. So இது வந்து this is my personal view on why it is not coming to the வெறும் கிரவுண்ட் ஃப்ளோர் இந்த மாதிரி இருக்கிற ஹவுசஸ் சார். காஸ்ட் வந்து இண்டிவிஜுவல் பிரிக் இதுனா இட் மே சீம் காஸ்ட்லி. அகைன் ஐம் சேயிங் இட் மே சீம் காஸ்ட்லி. பட் ஏசி பிளாக் உடைய சைஸே பெருசு. இட் வில் பி அரௌண்ட் 4 blocks, 4 bricks or more that will be occupied by one AAC block. அவங்க வந்து அந்த காஸ்ட் சொல்ல மாட்டாங்க. they only say sir ஒரு brick விலை இவ்ளோ, ஒரு AC block விலை இவ்ளோ, எது போடுறதுன்னு தான் கேட்பாங்க. and people don't know that size is also different.
ஓகே சார், ஓகே. இல்ல ரீசன் வந்து என்னால புரிஞ்சுக்க முடியுது. ஏன்னா பாப்புலரா இல்ல நான் பார்த்த வரைக்கும் மணாலன்.
இப்போ நீங்க இது ஏசி பிளாக் எடுத்தீங்கன்னா இட்ஸ் a manufactured product சார். GST 18% ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்கா வந்துரும் சார். இப்போ எனக்கே தெரியும் நிறைய பேர் வந்து இந்த fly ash blocks இதெல்லாம் they themselves manufacture. அவங்க வந்து they don't need to bring it into the purview of any bill. அது அப்படியே வந்துரும். ஸோ ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்கா காஸ்ட் அங்கேயும் வந்து கம்மி ஆயிடுது சார். இதெல்லாம் வந்து I cannot talk, it's a politically sensitive issue. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but this is one of the other things which also make it unacceptable to the masses.
Okay.
The engineers, we need to put our feet down. Engineer structure and this na you'll feel the advantage, you'll know the benefit.
Correct. Certain things நம்ம ஓபனா பேச முடியாது. Anyway, good. மணாளன் ஐயா,
ஓகே சார்.
விவேக் வந்து நன்றி உரை சொல்லுங்க. விவேக் செக்ரட்டரி.
இல்ல, விவேக் வந்து டிராவலிங்ல இருக்காரு. இஸ் கோயிங் பேக் டு பெங்களூர். ஓகே சார். எனிஹவ் டுடே I take the same role of telling thanks also. சார் ஆக்சுவலாக நீங்கள் ட்ரிங்கிங் வாட்டரில் ஆரம்பித்து ரிவர் சாண்ட்லேருந்து எம் சாண்ட் கன்வெர்ட் ஆனதுலேருந்து இந்த கிரஹா ஸ்டாண்டர்ட்லாம் இதெல்லாம் இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு ஸ்டாண்டர்ட் இருக்குன்றது இட்ஸ் அ நியூ இன்ட்ரடக்ஷன் டு அவர் கம்யூனிட்டி, எஸ்பெஷலி அதர் பிரான்ச்சஸ் ஆஃப் இன்ஜினியரிங். இட் வாஸ் ரியலி இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங். இந்த 1 hour போனதே தெரியல சார் எங்களுக்கு. On behalf of Institution of Engineers, Ranipet Local Center, I thank you, Dr. Sir John Sir. இந்த தருணத்தை வந்து மிகவும் யூஸ்ஃபுல்லாக யூஸ் பண்ணிட்டதுக்கு நாங்கள் மிக்க நன்றியுடையவர்களாக இருக்கிறோம். மிக்க நன்றி சார். தேங்க்யூ.
நான் கொஞ்சம் சொல்லலாமா?
தாராளமா, நீங்களே முழுசா சொல்லுங்க.
Sir, I should thank you wholeheartedly for the opportunity, sir. Thank you so much.
Sir, thank you, sir. Thank you.